Hello, and welcome to Weed and Grub.
Alaska, thank you for hanging out with me. Man, Alaska ruled, Mary Jane.
I'm so fucking stoked to hear all of the stories that you are bringing back from being at the roof of the world.
It is Earth's roof.
Yeah.
For real.
You flew to Alaska for how many days?
I mean, one long one because the sun wasn't kicking it too much. So
One long night.
One long night. I was talking about how the weather up there, the weathermen, it must be so easy. It's like night and cold.
Yeah.
Or day and cold. There's no in between. So what a great cush job that would be. But
Wow.
I loved it. The people there are so authentic. People came out. Thank you all for coming and hang out. All of the comics, who I'll talk about a bit later, crushed. The weed is fired. Everyone looks you in the eye. The food is delicious. I love Alaska so freaking much. So yeah, I love Alaska.
I am so fucking stoked to hear you talk about Alaska. I fucking love Alaska so much. When I worked there, it was my favorite summer job that I've ever had. I spent 4 summers up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you and I went up to Anchorage, and I'd never been to mainland Alaska, and that's like a whole different ball of wax. And yeah, it's a cool place where people really are sort of like last frontier. We are our own sort of deal up here.
Independence, freedom.
Yep.
You do you, I'll do me. Together we'll get along.
Yep.
I love that. I mean, I've never felt more free than when I was up there these past 3 days.
Wow.
/ nights.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's listening for the first time because of the shows, when you say you spent 4 seasons in Alaska, can you just add a little bit more context?
Oh, yeah. I was the deckhand and cook on a salmon boat tender in Southeast Alaska for 4 summers. And it was the greatest job I've ever had, honestly.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, what the
What's happening?
fuck is this in my pocket?
Oh, no.
Oh, it's an asterisk.
Oh.
Oh, no. And it says, about Mike's time in Alaska. There must be an exception to how great a time I had.
What are you talking about?
Because 1949, Alaska invented ranch dressing. Hidden Valley Ranch
Yeah.
is an Alaskan invention.
Okay.
And so every single show, I'm up there tooting horns about how much I love ranch and how great ranch is. And now I have an audio clip from one of the shows at Coots's, and I'd like to play it for you right now.
Wait, let's figure this out. All right, if you're, we haven't done this before. If you're pro ranch, let's hear. If you love ranch more than blue cheese, where are we at? And if you love blue cheese more than ranch?
They invented ranch, but they love blue cheese.
What the fuck?
That was one of the first debates we ever had on here, Mary Jane.
I know.
Was that I'm a radical rancher.
Yep.
And you're
I'm a blue cheese baby.
a blue cheese baby.
Uh-huh.
And it seems that the last frontier is full of blue cheese babies.
All the blue cheese babies go to out west because that's where we can be free in our love of the funk.
Yeah, you think that's what it is? You think there's ranch suppression?
You can't hold me
Or
down with
blue
your
cheese suppression?
your pasteurized, processed weirdness. I gotta go let my freak flag fly with my love of blue cheese and freedom.
Well, what up, Mary Jane?
How's it going, Mike?
Good. Welcome to Weed and Grub, everyone. This is a podcast about comedy,
Cannabis,
culture,
cooking,
calling shit out,
and funky ass freedom.
I couldn't believe it.
What? Well, okay. First, listen. What are you talking about? That ranch was invented in Alaska. This is news to me.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Well, let me pull up my notes and read you a little bit about it because I was geeking out about how wonderful it is. In the meantime, while I pull up these notes, some other dude who was there said his favorite dressing is Italian, even when it comes to like wings and pizza and stuff like that. And I think we can all agree.
I mean, you're dating yourself. You're dating yourself.
Yeah.
You're definitely an 80s kid because if you say that Italian is your favorite, like, do you also like French dressing? Because that used to be the choice, right? Like when you would go with your parents to a restaurant in like the 80s.
Oh, it's the house salad options.
It's the iceberg, you know, the side salad that comes with like the kind of mealy tomato and maybe an olive or two, and you get your choice. And when I was a kid, it was always Italian, Thousand Island, or Russian, French, and then maybe like some other kind of I don't know, like raspberry vinaigrette or something. Like if you were feeling like super like ooh, fancy, like you were in the big city, you know, like if you ordered raspberry vinaigrette, it was like, oh, she
Is
thinks
that the
she thinks
Cosmopolitan?
she thinks she's better than all of us. There was no like balsamic. There was no, you know, anything that's actually delicious. So
Green Goddess was a glimmer in God's eye at the time.
oh, we'd moved beyond Green Goddess because that was some fucking 70s shit. But that fucking Italian, like if you like Italian, you definitely grew up in the 80s going to restaurants like Red Lobster where you got the side salad with the Italian dressing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never had more ranch and blue cheese appreciation until just now. To think of all the other lesser flavors out there.
Yeah.
That like, you
That
know, are still
bottled-
around, but yeah.
That bottled Italian. It's like so sweet and weird.
Okay. So here is the scoop on ranch dressing, or the drizz.
Yeah.
Here's the drizz.
Great.
His name is Henson, Steve Henson, and he was working as a contract plumber in Alaska. And that is where he created Hidden Valley. So they started to sell the dressing in finished product and powdered form, where if it was a powder, you'd mix it with buttermilk and mayonnaise. And then the demand grew and grew. So they opened up a factory, amped up production, began distributing the finished product, sold it at supermarkets all across the Southwest. And then in 1972, Hidden Valley Ranch brand was bought by Clorox. And that is how Hidden Valley reached the rest of the country as we know it today.
Wait, but you said it was sold across the Southwest. So it was started in Alaska and then he like moved down to
Started in
the
Alaska,
lower
opened up a
48?
factory and started, you know, expanding as close as he could. Because I don't even know, were there airplanes back then? Like, you know what? Okay. So I wasn't there. I don't know. So yeah, that's how it started.
So he was a contract plumber in Alaska who invented ranch dressing, and then he came down to the lower 48 and he sold his ranch dressing to Clorox.
Exactly.
That's the American dream, man.
It is the fucking American, especially ranch. I think that's the American dream, to
Right.
create something as iconic as ranch.
I had truly, until I started hanging out with you and doing this podcast and eating food with you all the time and learning about delicious dips more and more and all the condiments that are available to us, had no appreciation for ranch. And I have grown my appreciation, and now I have an even more newfound appreciation for how great it is.
Well, next time I come to Alaska, please come with me so that we can talk more ranch and blue cheese and, you know, have our finger on the pulse of not only Anchorage, but Wasilla.
Yes.
And Homer,
yeah,
and Fairbanks.
Sitka, Juneau.
Let's do a cream team tour.
Great. Yes.
How's that sound?
Cream and weed.
I don't know about that.
Creamy dips and weed. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Cool. Nice. That's it. So thank you to Alaska, and I just had a real kick about, you know, having ranch and blue cheese debates every show.
And you went to a grow while you were up there, right?
I did. So when we did the Before You Die Fest, and we got to go to that grow and have Cass and everybody from the comedy festival take us around and see everything. We were fortunate enough to meet Joe and Ben, who again are comics who are great, who I'll talk about later. And Joe took me to the Enlightened Facility, and it is remarkable. And Ben hooked me up with a bunch of stuff from Catalyst and Mercy Tree of Alaska, the hoodie I'm wearing right now.
It's dope.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ben. And like the weed there is so fucking fire, Mary Jane. It is fire. It is strong, it is potent, it is funky, and it is fun.
So when we went to the grow a few years ago, they were growing like light deprivation, kind of indoor outdoor, like greenhouse grows. Is Enlightened doing an indoor grow? Because the facility, the pics that I saw, it looked like that's an indoor facility, right?
It's an indoor facility where they're doing complete control. The thing about it is because they're such a small, started by a mom and her two kids team, that all those rows and rows of plants that we'll put on the Instagram, they're still hand watering all of that.
Wow.
They're doing everything by hand while they're, you know, also trying to build, maintain, and sustain through the weed game right now.
Yeah.
So they work really hard and make great products, and they're just a small squad who believes in the plant.
I love that family community. That's so much of what I'm loving learning more about in California too. Like the people who grow the weed are the reason that we have the plant, and we need to like pay more attention to the cultivators and the people who are, you know, at the very beginning of it all.
Is there Farmers Day?
There should be.
Yeah, I don't know if there is or not, but Jesus Christ, we have.
If there's not,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know how many apples are in a grocery store? All of them.
Yeah.
900 million apples.
Yeah, that would be great. Willie Nelson would probably had that up with his Farm Aid Farmer's Day. I bet, we should look into it.
Absolutely.
For
And
sure.
we'll get State Farm to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Sell out immediately. It'll be great. What'd you think of that vegan THC capsule from Enlightened?
I slept really well. I was out in about 20 minutes. It was just a 5 milligram dose suspended. And I think it was, did you say it was macadamia nut oil?
Yeah.
I've never had anything in macadamia nut oil. It was very effective. I slept great. I woke up with zero grogginess. It was perfect. It was kind of
Cool.
perfect for a nap, actually, because I took it and I was out quickly, and then I woke up like an hour later and was just like, oh, I feel good.
That's how I felt with the diamonds that I tried. I don't know if they're on the market yet. I think it only might be in R&D right now. But I tried some diamond dabs and real high, great time. Closed my eyes for about 30 minutes before the show. Woke up feeling like Superman.
Yeah.
Perfect reset.
Clear as a bell, right?
Clear as a fucking bell.
That's so nice.
Yeah. Wait, clear as a bell?
Clear as a bell. Yeah, like the sound of a bell that's hit on a clear day.
Oh, because they're all bronze. I was like, I don't know what that saying is.
Is that a saying? I feel like that's a saying. Maybe I'm making it up.
Clear as the sound of a bell.
Clear as a bell. That is just literally something I'm pulling out of the mists of time from my childhood.
It
I
makes
think.
perfect sense
Yeah.
from like churches and hourly and it ringing out
Yeah,
across
you
the
can hear-
sky.
yeah,
Yeah,
clear as a
I was
bell.
just picturing what a bell looks like.
Yeah, right. Very opaque. Oh,
We'd
man.
be the worst time travelers.
Oh my God.
Just shit time travelers.
What did you're just making me think of last night when we were stoned and we were watching that show, IT Guys.
Yeah.
And Chris O'Dowd at one point was talking to some idiot on the phone who just didn't understand what was going on with their computer. And he just went, wait, are you from the past?
Yeah, they didn't understand computers at all.
It was great. I was like, what a good burn. Because I feel like sometimes you could just say that to me and I would be like, yes, I am absolutely from the past. I have no idea what's going on. What year is it? What time is it? What day is it? Where am I? Is anything real? Okay. Anyway.
Well, speaking of is anything real, we should get to the news this week because
Oh.
it kind of is. Is it real?
Is it real? Yes. This is our section of the Grub Gazette. And this week we are, listeners wanted to know, and I think, a lot of people are paying attention to this particular topic right now, whether or not smoking cannabis will protect you against COVID. And, I just Googled it really quickly to see what the, an assortment of headlines were. And of course, it's so amazing to just read all of the different headlines on one page from PennLive.com says, smoking weed won't protect you against COVID-19, reports say. And then directly beneath it from NewsHub, it says, coronavirus. New study suggests cannabis could prevent COVID-19 infections. And everything in between. People are weighing in for and against it.
I can't tell, is it speculation or science that has been spun into speculation? Like, what's the base?
The base is that there was a study done at Oregon State that did find 2 cannabis compounds that could potentially prevent COVID from infecting human cells. And those 2 compounds are CBG and CBDA. Both of them are in acid form. And basically what they do, the whole study was done in vitro, meaning it was done in petri dishes. So it hasn't been tested on lab animals and it hasn't been tested in humans. So there's a lot more to be done. But in vitro, in those petri dishes, it was found that basically, so the COVID virus, when these compounds were attached to it, it then prevented that virus from penetrating human cells. So it was like putting a prophylactic around the...
Yeah, a
like
cannabis
putting
condom.
A cannabis condom on COVID. And basically, that's as far as we've gotten. Like those COVID-19 spike proteins were unable to enter the human cells because those hemp compounds were surrounding it. And now there's just a lot more research to be done. So no.
But I thought that those compounds in particular aren't actually when you light weed on fire,
right,
they disappear. Was my understanding. So I'm not really sure. Like I think maybe that's where the argument is that once you smoke weed, those compounds disappear, so they don't actually do anything anymore because they're not around. Right.
If you're smoking a joint, that means you're, combusting THC primarily and CBD and other compounds to get high, right? So the CBGA and CBDA in these acid forms are actually found in raw cannabis and raw hemp. And, so the way that you would actually mostly ingest these would be juicing raw leaves. If you have access to some fan leaves and some great weed around the house, juice them up, put them in a smoothie. It's good for you on so many levels, and maybe it'll also protect you against COVID. But no, like your average weed smoker is not more protected against COVID because these compounds aren't actually in combustible cannabis for the most part.
Would you say that there's a market using like all of the trim and things like that and everything that you would use for distillate and pressing that into juice shots and selling that as protection against COVID potentially as a business market for the next 7 years while this continues or however fucking long it goes?
I'm sure there are many enterprising people out there who are looking into that kind of thing. I would love to know more about it. I think, really the answer is, can hemp and cannabis compounds prevent COVID-19? Looking good. Possibilities are, everyone's open to the possibility. We just don't know enough to say, but juicing raw cannabis is probably good for you in all sorts of other ways. So keep it up. And, there are lots of other plants that also possess antiviral properties like, oregano and cloves and, rosemary and thyme and, just like a holistic plant-based medicine wellness routine is always going to keep your immune system, up and punching at things like COVID. So, the healthier you keep your immune system with all sorts of plant medicine, the better off you're going to be. But this is not going to, give you the protection that the vaccine would, for instance. Like
piss.
Or piss, right? Or ivermectin.
Yeah.
No, it's...
If you do a compound of a booster shot, piss, ivermectin, and cannabis leaves.
And a ton of weed.
And a ton of weed.
Very exciting. It's a very exciting result. So basically, we don't know. There is, there's definitely some evidence that it could be helpful in future. And, scientific studies need to be conducted.
If I was Jeff Bezos and I owned the Washington Post, my headline would just read, "Keep it up, y'all."
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going. We're doing okay. We're working hard.
So basically, brew yourself some weed tea. If you can find CBGA or CBDA tinctures or capsules, maybe add them to your routine. But weed is not a substitute for vaccines and or boosters and or masking. Please don't mistake it as such.
I love it though, because it is continuing to prove itself as a Swiss Army plant.
Yes.
In so many ways, whether it's PTSD, epilepsy,
anxiety.
Anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Munchies.
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese. Munchies. Yeah, it's the most incredible plant in the world, and we're just, continuing to unlock all of the mysteries of it. And so this is a really cool study that is great to have in the news as a mostly positive thing, because God knows the mainstream media needs to be bonked over the head with the fact that weed is, a fucking awesome plant and not all of the other terrible things that they say about it.
Can I get to Buds of the Week? Because I had a great time partying really hard with some dynamite folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get to our VIB.
Yeah, Olivia. Do you want to go first or second? Because mine's long.
Oh, I'll go first.
Okay.
My bud of the week is Mr. Meat, the Hollywood pig. I met him. I met him while you were in Alaska, Mike, and I had heard of Mr. Meat, the Hollywood pig, from you because you, I think, had met him just on your walks around the neighborhood.
Yep.
Sent me a picture. I was like, "What's happening? Who is this?" So I was walking Archie Moo while you were up in Alaska. Walked past Mr. Meat's home. I know where he lives now. He's a neighbor. He's a big pig. He's a big fat Vietnamese pot-bellied pig. He's got an IG. We'll tag him. He's my bud of the week. He's 7 years old. He is open for bookings. And when I put him on my Instagram, so many people were like, "Oh my God, I've seen that guy with his dog sister." Or Gabrus was like, "I've run past that guy in my fucking neighborhood."
When I saw him, his hair was purple.
Yeah, it was blue when I saw him. He's a local legend. He's Mr. Meat, the Hollywood pig. So he's my bud of the week. He's the best. Archie was so confused. He was like, "I don't know how to talk to that guy." But
I wonder what it's like to be an animal who hasn't seen another animal before. When your whole sense of everything is based on smell, that's got to be crazy.
I don't think he'd ever met a pig before. He was definitely a little weirded out. Like he wasn't scared of Mr. Meat, but he also didn't want to make friends with him or sniff his butt,
Yeah, it's like if I saw a dinosaur, I don't think I'd want to be friends with it. I would just be like, "What is that? I've never seen one."
Right. I don't understand what that creature is.
Exactly.
Totally.
I wish I could read Archie's brain. I wish I could understand. I know I'll get to my bud of the week in a second, but remember when I was talking shit about him because we all saw that rainbow and he was smiling like he could see it, and I was like, "You can't see that, you're colorblind," and it got a good laugh, and it was pretty funny to pick on him for his rods and cones. But then you were like, "I think that they can see color, they just see it differently," and then I googled it to see if you were right, and they can essentially smell color. So it's not that they're colorblind, it's that their color sense is shifted to their nose, and that blew me away. And I was like, I think dogs are more special special than I give them credit for.
Everything is more special than we give it credit for. Humans are terrible. Humans are like, we're the fucking number one best thing ever. Oh, really? I mean, look at anything. And it's better than we are. We are just a crazy invasive species that has managed to fucking hang on. And we're so incredible in so many ways. I'm not like here to bash humanity, but like, if you've ever just gone tide pooling like we did in Malibu and like hung out looking in a fucking tide pool for a second, that's an entire universe that's so amazing. It's all amazing.
Yeah.
And weed is, great for that too.
It sure is. Damn, Mr. Meat the Hollywood Pig.
Yeah, he was great. I loved him.
Well, my butt of the week this week is everyone that I was fortunate enough to perform with here in Alaska. Killer comedians up there. Can't wait for them to either perform with me again, come down here. Just dynamite. So I'm going to go through it, and it's also going to be in the show notes, and we're also going to tag everyone. But I just want to shout out Captain Quick Pick, Ben Farley. He's an amazing comic. His energy is electric. He can roll the fattest blunts in the land, and he's also the guy who hooked me up with Mercy Tree and Catalyst. And he, with one of my other buds of the week, Joe Stoltz, do Best Buds Radio, which is a podcast I was on while I was there. So check out Joe as well. He is at Jokes. No, he is at
Icebeard Comedy, right?
Icebeard Comedy. Thank you, Mary Jane. Check out Jared. He's also a great comic. He's opening for Paul Rodriguez next week. So congratulations, Jared. Check out Sabrina Spears. She was a host in Wasilla, and she's an amazing comic. She has a very interesting story I will tell you off pod with her permission. So check out Sabrina Spears. And then last but not least, check out, he just graduated from college. His name is Damon. Check out Damon as well. Top tier comics up there in Alaska. I can't wait till they get to perform everywhere else. Or maybe they already are. What do I know?
Fucking A.
Fucking A. So it's a lot of buds of the week, and it was a sloppy way to announce them, but it's just because I'm excited and I'm so thankful that I consider them buds now.
That's so great. I'm so stoked to go back there someday and hang out with all of them and run around and eat great creamy dips and smoke all the weed and go to that new Sonic that I hear they have up in Wasilla.
It's a beautiful Sonic. Shout out Heidi and Andrew. Andrew is an EMT for helicopters, and him and Heidi picked me up and drove me to Wasilla and showed me the Sonic, and it's a beautiful Sonic.
Wow.
I would love to attend it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And there was one more shout out I had to do. Oh, Bart and Kevin from Hooked Entertainment, who put this whole thing together for me to get up there and perform. Thank you so much.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, should we get to our butt of the week, our VIB?
Yeah, otherwise I'm going to keep talking Alaska and we'll never get to Olivia. So let's do it.
We this week are chatting with one of my favorite folks that I met when I moved to LA, and I know you've known her longer than I have, Olivia Alexander, aka Kush Queen, entrepreneur, activist, maven, fucking fierce, fabulous force of goodness in the world. Like caught up with us to tell us, there was so much that we got into, but she's running a multi-million-dollar business that she has built by herself.
Ground up.
Yeah.
From Louisiana to like a lot of commas.
Yeah.
A lot of commas.
Yeah.
And also, if you're into relaxation and treating your body and mind well, her self-care line is the top of the top, the tip of the tip.
It was so great to talk to Olivia. We really didn't know how to stop because we wanted to roll on for hours, but let's get into it.
Yeah. Oh, we even talked microdosing. So without further ado, here is our interview with
Olivia Alexander.
Olivia. How's the empire?
Oh my, the empire. What have I done? Oh, I've been girl bossing a bit too close to the sun, as we say on TikTok. Life has become quite weird, and obviously it's my dream come true. But it's one of those, situations where be careful what you ask for, because you certainly may get it and then have a multi-million-dollar business that you're running at 33 years old, and you're responsible for 20 plus people, and it just keeps growing and evolving, and I'm grateful, but goddamn, it's been a journey.
Woo. I profiled you for the cover of Dope magazine 3 or 4 years ago now, and it's just wild to see how at that time you were already, I feel like you were kind of on top of the world then, and now everything's just grown so much more from there.
Yeah, it's really crazy to think back to that Dope Mag cover and that interview. I remember us all sitting on that couch, and I remember talking about how I was going to make Kush Queen this empire, and Wolfie was saying, we're going to get a TV show one day, and now she's in the Jackass movie. And it's just really crazy how in just such a short amount of time, so much can change. And yeah, I feel like back then Kush Queen had really exploded in a different way. I think we were riding that hemp wave, the CBD boom. And now I think we're just getting older. We're getting maybe a little bit wiser and getting better. And I think right now with cannabis and hemp and sort of where all of this has gone, at least for me, it's kind of an honor to survive, kind of an honor to still be existing. And I know this is going to sound really dramatic, but we know I'm extra. I feel, I feel in some ways like, I'm kind of like not Katniss Everdeen, but I'm kind of a Mockingjay. Like I'm kind of out here as this weird symbol of people who shouldn't really be existing anymore here. There's not very many of us. There's not many women still. There's not very many small brands still existing. There are definitely very few people who were around back in the 215 days. And really, it's just been such a journey. And I kind of just, I think that's where I'm at right now, is just like a lot of gratitude and really just wanting to continue to build this legacy and really just keep building the company. I'm so proud that I still own 85% of Kush Queen. I've not yet been merged or acquired like many. And I'm really just still in the driver's seat. And I think that's also something that I'm really proud of, is that every day I'm still waking up and I'm doing it for myself, and I'm doing it for the plant and the people that use it and the products themselves. And yeah, it's really strange that it just keeps going. I mean, I didn't ever think I was going to fail, but you surely have your days, especially where legal cannabis has gone, where you're just kind of like, how the fuck did I do this? Like, what? Like, seeing a lot of my peers, my mentors leave the space, see them sell their companies, see the people that really inspired me to get in out, has been a really sobering, humbling kind of feeling. And it's hard because I look around the industry and it doesn't look the same, you know, and I always knew that was going to be a part of this journey. If you stay in it long enough, you're going to be around to see it change. But I really just kind of pinch myself every day. I mean, it's corny AF, but I just, especially because I was an influencer, if you will. That was sort of the crux of that interview with Dope Magazine. And now I'm doing something I think that I was born to do. And I think, wow, like getting deleted on Instagram, losing my pages, really being forced into, okay, Kush Queen has to work, was the worst moment of my life, but also the best, because here I am and I can't imagine any of it happening any differently. But like, god damn, what a journey.
Before we dive into your story, because I feel like, you know, just coming up the way you have from, you know, girlhood to now, it's been such an incredible journey, and I want to dive into it. But could you just give everyone a quick overview of what your current company is?
Yes.
What Kush Queen is? Yeah,
so Kush Queen is, we call ourselves a cannabinoid company. We straddle both the compliant cannabis market in California, where we exist in the dispensaries with our 1-to-1 bath bombs and our nano topicals. And then we have over 70 SKUs online. We have a massive direct-to-customer business online where we ship our products not just in the US now, but to Japan, to Hong Kong, to the UK. And we've really ridden the wave of sort of like the hemp CBD boom back in 2017. We just basically love making cannabis products every damn day, and not just cannabis products for recreation. You know, we straddle that line between recreation and wellness, and Kush Queen is still committed since I really founded the company to inclusion, to diversity, in making cannabis products for people who don't really fit into the culture. That's where it all sort of kicked off for me. And Really also just making finished goods, and obviously the OG bath bomb sort of started it all for us. Oh, there's one. But we're really just a cannabis company. I think in 2022, people are going to be really excited to see us getting into some of the bigger categories with some of the big boys, as I like to say. But we're really just a family-owned business who has this plant so deep in their heart. And that's really what we do every day, I think, is we just wake up and we honor the plant and the people that use it. And so that's what Kush Queen is, just a crazy dream I had to make products that were consistent, were effective. I mean, I worked behind the scenes in cannabis since I was 18. So many years I saw the pitfalls of the products. And even now you just see the recreational market just taking over so much of the conversation. And I use cannabis for recreation, but I also use cannabis for my mental health. That was such a huge driver in me developing the product line. And it's shaped everything when it comes to Kush Queen and how we look at the products, and really we just always strive for consistent effects, repeatable effects. We've innovated in the hemp space with being the first to launch THCV into the hemp market. We love minor cannabinoids, but really we just geek out on cannabis all day long, and we can't believe that we can make a living from doing this,
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a nerd. I didn't know that you're like a big nerd. You geek out on stuff.
Oh yeah, we really are. And actually, I haven't really talked about this anywhere else, but I have a book coming out in March, and it's actually about cannabis and cannabis wellness, specifically for women, but really practical applications for cannabis, and sort of diving into my wellness philosophy. So I'm really excited about that. And it really just, writing that book made me realize, like, holy shit, you are one big weed nerd.
What's the book called?
I can't really say yet. Also, I probably am gonna get in trouble for this. No, I'm kidding. They already know. I'm like, that NDA, meh. Plus, I'm embroiled right now in a back and forth with the publisher because of the word marijuana being on the cover. And it's just a huge thing for me that we address the elephant in the room when it comes to the way we talk about cannabis. And so I'm kind of back and forth battling with them right now. But we'll definitely have that launching in March. And I'm just really I can't believe I wrote a book.
That's huge. It's amazing.
It was the hardest thing I've ever done, except Kush Queen. I will never look at a book the same, and I'll never look at writers the same, and it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it blew my mind that someone wanted to pay me to write about weed. I mean, there were these days when I was like writing stuff and I'm just like, this is so silly. Like, I can't believe this is my life. But so I'm doing that and pretty much just running Kush Queen and just continuing to hold space for people in the industry who do it for the love of it. I think that's just such a big thing that isn't happening anymore because the capitalism has taken over. But for me, loving cannabis, nerding out on it, being the #1 test dummy, okay?
Yo.
I will never give that position up. They think, oh, she's running the company. They were making like these drinks, and they're like, I said, you can bring those into my office right now. I am willing to get high AF for the rest of the day for the company, not for me. But I'm just like, damn, these people got into this industry. They don't smoke weed. They don't love it. And I try to focus on myself and not worry about what other people are doing. But goddamn, like, it's so good, like, I just think they're doing themselves a disservice because they don't have that relationship. So really just trying to enjoy it also. That's a big thing. It's just, it got all business and then it got real serious, like really fast. And I was like, whoa.
Is that a bummer or is that cool for you? Like, how do you feel about it for real? Because we talk about it a lot.
At first, it was a bummer. And I was a shell of who I used to be. And I was uptight and my butthole was clenched all the time. And I was just like, fuck, I really am becoming uncool and I don't like myself that much. And then I came around the other side of it, frankly, because of COVID. And that somehow gave me this whole new lease on life, this whole new way to look at it. And I think that the greatest gift I have in my life right now is that I'm back to loving it so much. And through the ugly times, like the payroll stuff, the taxes, the books, the real nitty-gritty gross ass business stuff that I never wanted to do, that I literally thought someone would come along and do it for me, but like legit no one ever did. I was like, wait, so you mean I'm not going to get to just wear a cape suit and have people take my picture and put me on magazines and call me a girl boss? Like, this is, I didn't sign up for this shit. This is work. But in the work is where I've really gotten a lot of confidence. And especially because I think, especially early on, like in the early days of Kush Queen, I probably would definitely had like major imposter syndrome. And then all of a sudden I came around like the first quarantine through COVID, and I was like, holy shit, like I really run my business. I really know what this is about. And I really have just embraced it. And, you know, I do a lot of personal work too. I work with a life coach. Obviously, I'm very into psychedelics as well. And all of that has really helped ground me and renew my passion for it. And I think I look at myself, of course, very dramatically, like a professional athlete, but an entrepreneur. And then I just think every day, like, you have to last. Like, you can't get burnout. Like, you have to last. Like, it's important that you last and the brand lasts. Because that's important to me. And so I think it's about taking care of myself, being in my passion as much as I can, and just appreciating the labor of it all. You know, it's like I can fight the labor or I can love the labor, and I've just somehow mind fucked myself, and I'm like, I fucking love it. So I had a long day, so this happened, so that happened. But that's the gift, you know. But it's ugly. It's ugly behind the scenes. There's boogers, there's tears, there's failed lab tests, there's so much drama, you know, like it is, it's really unreal what the reality of it is every day. And that's my big thing, especially because so many people reach out to me and they're like, I want to have my own company just like you. And I'm like, well, just know. It's not what you think it is. And I can attest to that, but I just sort of embrace it, you know?
Have you suffered from the same situation that's affecting so many small businesses in California under Prop 64? Is that affecting you, or are you able to sort of be a little more nimble because you're selling nationally and internationally and you know, more of a hemp brand?
The truth of the matter is, if I didn't sell my products online, I wouldn't have survived 64. Mm-hmm. I survived 64 because I straddled both lines, and Kush Queen is a unique case. There's only a few other brands like us where we don't actually hold licenses. I am not technically a license holder in the compliant cannabis market. I work with a license holder and a manufacturer, and so I partner with them, and their partnership keeps me in the market. And that shields me from some things, but the just straight truth of it all is, had I not decided to sell my products online, had I not decided to cultivate my email list and care about the rest of the country when it came to getting them quality products, I don't think I would have made it. And every day, the compliant cannabis industry is a struggle. I have so much respect for the people that survive it. I have so much respect for the dispensary owners, the cultivators, everyone who is hanging on right now, because it's some white knuckling shit, you know? It's really complicated. I just continue to urge people to believe and buy legal weed, but I know it's so hard because even now with inflation, like, people only have the money they have. I continue to advocate for the state to wake up and stop this bullshit, stop the taxes, lower the licensing process, lower the barrier to entry, and stop giving this all to corporations. And, you know, the other day I saw this post on Instagram, and it was this guy, and he was like, look, I'm not an anti-capitalist, I'm an anti-monopolist. And that's really what we're facing too. We're facing these super large corporations who have it all, who want it all, and then they want more. And it's just a big bummer that they don't want to let small brands exist, that they don't all want to kumbaya together, because I do think if the industry had some kind of real leadership, we could actually get some progress made, but there is no fucking leadership. California has been breaking my heart for a long time, and if I'm just being so honest, I would have quit 4 years ago if I wouldn't have had my partners who said, no, we started this thing to be a cannabis company, and maybe we took a couple different turns to survive, but we're always going to be a cannabis company. And so that's really what I'm trying to do this year, is get back into the flower category, get back into the pre-roll category, and really offer people the same quality that they expect from me, but knowing that they're supporting, you know, a woman-owned business, that they're supporting my dream, and something that's so much more than just, you know, a corporation. Not to say like those people suck or anything, because they do. I mean, what?
They do. It's heartless, soulless bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just much rather support someone's dream and passion and know that, you know, that's what it's about. I know that consumers only have so much time to research companies, but I really try to urge people to, if you do find a brand that you like, research who owns that company, research how they treat people, research what their reputation is, because you may not want to be supporting them, and you may be supporting some really bad people, because unfortunately there are some bad people in this space. And my whole problem is just like, they just want everything.
Yeah.
That's their
I haven't
business
eaten
model.
Chick-fil-A in years.
What? Oh, Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
I haven't eaten Chick-fil-A in years. I'm standing strong with you, Olivia.
Never forget when they said they changed, and they didn't.
And they fucking didn't. We see you, Chick-fil-A. Your life or death mentality, where it's like ride or fucking die, does this come from your interesting childhood? Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah.
How should I talk about it?
Basically, I'll tell you this story.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, for people who don't know, I was a beauty queen, and I started doing pageants when I was 8 months old. So my mom had a little saying, sorry, Mom, but we're good. She would say, you know, second place is the biggest loser. Mm-hmm. And when you grow up, you know, I also grew up in a town of 800 people. My ability to win was not just the survival of my own, but my family's. And from the moment I was born, I was told, like, you have to get us out of here. And so...
Is this Arkansas?
Louisiana.
Louisiana, yeah.
Yeah. So that sort of mentality, that sort of upbringing, and then, like, intense dance competitions and pageants in all my formative years, you know, like a little tiny person, it gave me a certain intensity. I'm really lucky for all the work I've been able to do on myself to sort of like reprogram some of it, because it can be very destructive. I think in the early days of Kush Queen, it's what got me through. But now that I'm at a different place and every day isn't about survival, I don't want to be there. And then I also don't want to be so competitive to people that may actually be able to help me, you know, and I can foster a less competitive spirit. But surely, my mom, she has her own feelings about my childhood and she regrets a lot of it, but I am really grateful for it, because frankly, absolutely nothing could have prepared me for being in cannabis, like pageants, dance competitions, acting, being in the entertainment industry, hearing no all the time, and frankly, just always being on the edge of complete and utter failure and spiraling. You know, there's just nothing like it to just like develop that character, okay? Like, so,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's good now that I'm on the other side of it. You know, I'm not like a fucking mess like I used to be, so it's really helpful. But yeah, nothing like colorful childhood to help prepare you for an industry that is sort of a maze, that's always moving, that's always changing, that's always kind of keeping you on the edge of either complete and utter winning or complete and utter losing. So
yeah. If we were to guess how many first place trophies you have in your childhood room, do you know close enough that if we were to guess it, we would be able to get around it?
Well, funny enough, my mom didn't keep the trophies, but she kept the crowns.
What?
The crowns.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, because my family, there's a lot of gold medals in a cabinet in my family's dining room. So, okay, crown total. I'm going to say 7 crowns.
That's really hilarious. There's like 8. There's 8 solid crowns and one.
Wow.
And one scepter. It's like a stick that you would hold, and it has like crystals on the top of it. And I'm like, Mom, like, don't you think you could like let this stuff go? And she's like, I'll never let go of those 8 crowns and the one scepter. And I'm just like, ugh.
Do you think that scepter and that glitter and that crystal led you to your next iteration? Like when I met you, you had the crystal like line of vapes that you had created.
100%.
Sort of, like, got you, yeah.
All of it led me to this point, which it was like 2012, I think. I was like getting really disillusioned with acting. I like did a movie. They bankrupted the movie, didn't have money to pay us, doing like shitloads of yoga, smoking tons of weed, and asking the universe to bring me my next thing. And then 6 months later, I got on the glamour.com beauty blog because of my nail art. And then like a couple days later, I crystallized my vape, and like that got me press and was starting to like blow up my Instagram. And that's when I asked my dad for $700 because I was broke as fuck living in my parents' house, and he gave it to me, and he was like, oh God, here she goes again. Like, I'm sure he thought I was gonna fail. And then I made the first line of Crystal Cult vapes, and we had like made $6,000 the first month, and then it was kind of like hit the ground running. And then back in like 2015, 2016, I did a pre-roll, like an infused pre-roll at Chalice that was called the Queen Scepter. And so it's all there, you know, like everything, like people would not see it because they don't know my story, but every little thing, you know, like even Kush Queen, the name, like all of it, it's all sort of just like this weird jumbled expression of my childhood and my life. And now, you know, it just oozes into adulthood. It's like no matter what I do, I'll always be extra as fuck. Like I'm like, sorry guys. I'm so sorry to my civilian friends, but I can't help it.
Well, and you're honoring your roots now with your Swamp Queen line, the Spirit of the Bayou, which is so amazing. I love it so much.
That has a crazy story because in 2019, we did our collaboration with Alice and Olivia, which took me to New York Fashion Week and was sort of just like this crazy moment where this $300 million a year fashion brand hit us up and was like, we want you to make CBD products for us. I got in the LA Times. They did this profile on me that was like, will she be the CBD queen? And, you know, I'm over here like, fuck, I don't want to be the CBD queen, but okay, we'll take it, you know? And I have this like grade A psycho hater who, of course, I grew up with in Louisiana. And he got super triggered by the article and was like, you're just white trash from Louisiana. Your brand shouldn't even be called Kush Queen. It should be called Swamp Queen. And we're sitting there and we're like, wait. That is such a good concept. So we waited and we were like, we have to do this right, and like wanted to shoot it in Louisiana and like go down there. So we snuck in like literally a week in this top of August right before the hurricane hit, fucking awful hurricane. We made the bath bomb, which it literally turns the water, it like shifts in color. So it's like green and then black on the inside, which is very much like the swamp is because it's like one color on top, one color on the bottom. We did the elixir shot and really just got to honor honor like the experience of someone throwing a brick at you and then building a castle. And then also just like there's all of this rich fucking history with cannabis in New Orleans and Louisiana. And Anslinger and what he did when he waged that original war on drugs, reefer madness, like he really was after the jazz musicians. He really was after, I mean, now that the Billie Holiday movie has come out, like more people like get it, but it's like, no. Like this really was OG drug war, all about race, all about getting these people from, you know, doing this. And New Orleans was a huge part of that. And I found all of these like vintage maps of like drug busts and all of this crazy historical context. And I just dove right into it. We went down to Louisiana for a week. I shot in front of my childhood home smoking a joint. And we were out there, and this man, he swings open his door and he screams, "Lil Liv!" And literally, like, I fucking busted out crying. And it was my neighbor Linwood. And yeah, I just went to all my favorite places. I went show my grandmother the collection. They wouldn't let me shoot in a real swamp. So we had to go down to this area called Grand Isle, which is still considered the worst beach in America. So mind you, they put me in like not much cleaner water, but it just was so cathartic and beautiful and really just the most me thing ever. But yeah, I think that's also what I love about Kush Queen is I get to have this like platform, which is like a portal for me to just like create and like tell all these stories and like just be deep in the feels on this shit. Because let me tell you, like, I'm fucking in my feelings all the time. I'll be crying, like, when I see it and I hold it or I read the copy on the bottle. Like, I really fucking feel it, you know? And it's just, like, I used to, I think, hide from that and, like, not want people to know, like, how fucking deep it really is for me. But now I'm just like, fuck it. Everyone knows I'm a giant softie. I'm not fooling anyone. Like, meh.
It's interesting because I was just reading an interview with Jack Harlow. And he was talking about his love for Louisiana, where he came from. Or no, Louisville. And his love for Louisville. And what he was saying was like, you know, you can either embrace where you come from and use it to elevate yourself to a life that you've dreamed of, or you can run away from your like childhood and your past and your city and all of those things. And here in LA, it seems like most people are running away from something to come here and reinvent themselves. But it sounds like you are at a point now. I don't know if you ran away at a time, but yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. There was a lot that we did, and like a lot of the copy on the social posts and everything that were like, you know, for me, I definitely was ashamed of it. I definitely didn't want people to know, especially as like a teenager when like they're like uber rich, wealthy people whose parents are celebrities and this and that. And I definitely dated people in my 20s whose mother were like, "You're white trash. You're never going to marry my son." And I'm like, thank God, you know. But honey, I don't want your fucked up son, but okay, lady. And yeah, and I was ashamed of it, you know. And then I think in doing sort of the deeper spiritual work, embracing my inner child and then embracing my childhood, I could embrace where I came from. And I really urged people with the Swamp Queen collection specifically to engage more in a ritual. And I had this moment where we were down there shooting and I remember like looking at Michael and I was like, you know, it's more than just about being proud of where you come from. It's about embracing it because it's about embracing who you truly are. And there's so much power in that. And I think cannabis for me has always brought me so much deeper to myself and really expands my consciousness and my senses. And I think that's where I'm going to try to push the brand, especially this next year, is just going deeper. I think everybody in the market's going like recreation, celebrity, really surface level. And I'm like, look, I've literally been talking to the trees and to the sun and to the moon and to the rivers, and we're going deep. We're going all the way, and we're going to let our heart bleed a little. And I think it's just like important. Like, people are struggling so fucking hard right now. They're struggling. They're just having such a hard time, like the collective. And I know that because I spend so much fucking time on TikTok and talking to people online. And I want people to know, like, I've been there. Like, I have been there with my mental illness. And I can tell you that it's possible. It's all possible. And I think that's also it is with Swamp Queen, with Kush Queen and anything we're doing and creating, it's like, what are we saying to people? Because right now, like, they don't have it in them for us to, like, emptily sell them. I want them to feel, and I want them to feel me and know that I've gone there and that they can go there too, and just sort of like really lead by example in that deep connection between cannabis, our feelings, who we are, where we're going, you know, and the evolution of it all. That's why I love this fucking plant. Like, this thing has been evolving side by side with us for thousands of years. And it still gives me the chillies just to say that, you know, because just like, God damn, you know. But that's the thing about me. I'm bringing the drama every day, you know. I'm bringing that next level drama. People around here are like, okay, Olivia, it's a Tuesday. Can you calm the fuck down? And I'm like, no, I fucking can't. I just can't, you know. I can't.
So is microdosing helping with this? Oh, like, where's microdosing fit into all of this? Because I really have been enjoying your TikToks and everything that it seems like a natural evolution to be the shroom queen as well.
Well, I didn't want to be, honestly. I wasn't into psychedelics. Like, people were telling me for years in cannabis, like when I was struggling with my mental health, one of the big things when I started Kush Queen, the year that I got deleted on Instagram and then really, like, I considered started the company in like 2015, my mental health just like to shit. I was on meds for 8 years. They weren't working. I had to have an abortion because I fucking got pregnant on this awful cocktail of pharmaceuticals. And that's when I was like, I have to get the fuck off these things, and I have to find some way to be stable without it. And that's really when we started messing around.
I gotta interrupt. I'm so sorry. But like, when we're talking about mental health, are we talking about like on the couch depression, sleeping for 20 hours a day? What does it look like? Because you're doing... Yeah. I'm
bipolar, so my mental illness looks completely different from most people. Mania for days. I'm like very high functioning depressed, so I'll be like working myself to the bone, but literally haven't slept or seen the sun in days. Just like a lot of swinging. I've gone through periods of immense depression where I can't live, but really also just at this point, I was just dealing a lot with suicidal ideation and just like not wanting to live. And that was what drove me onto medication and then drove me off of medication because my life just like wasn't getting better. So when we were developing the products, like that was also part of it. It's like we were trying to make me well. We were trying to wean me off of these pharmaceuticals, and then everyone was like, oh, try microdosing. And I was like, oh, I'm scared of psychedelics because I was told the same shit. Everyone else has the same propaganda, like mentally ill people shouldn't mess with these things. And it's like, no, mentally ill people shouldn't mess with these things at high doses. They shouldn't mess with, and if they do, you have to be completely facilitated in a safe environment. And so my mom got a brain tumor in 2017. Actually, I think like right around the time we did that interview, my mom had just had brain surgery. And that was like obviously the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life. And that's when I started working with my life coach. And she really took me to the edge of all of it, and also was like, you have to do the real work. You know, like the plants are just facilitating your courage. They're helping you get there. And somewhere along the line, my friend Lauren was just like, look, just take some fucking mushrooms with me, okay? We're at home, you're safe, you have your backyard, you'll be fine. And it was like right the fuck away, my brain was like doing weird things. And I felt like, I swear to God, I felt serotonin in there for the first time in years. And then I started getting into coaching with the microdosing, doing like larger journeys, exploring more with not just psilocybin, but LSD. I love LSD. And really pushing it together, blending it together with my cannabinoid routine and then the spiritual work. It just fucking exploded for me. And then we're all in quarantine and everyone's on TikTok. And funny enough, like TikTok did not want me to talk about cannabis. Like, even in a way that was harder for Instagram. Like, I was on Instagram
I have 2 strikes against
forever.
me on TikTok. I might get kicked off permanently.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden I go fucking viral, like literally like this, showing people I took LSD for 30 days on this microdose journey. And then I'm like, oh shit. And it just, now it's become this whole other thing where I have this whole other audience there. And then a lot of them don't even use CBD. They don't even use cannabis. And they're all in pharmaceuticals. They're all women. They all have bipolar, depression, anxiety. You know, it's just like, it makes sense why my story resonated there. I did videos like how I got off pharmaceuticals and talked about weaning. And I talk about Kush Queen there. Luckily, now I've kind of figured it out. But it's really interesting engaging the microdosing. I don't do it all the time, but I definitely do it regularly. And then I really have just come to also enjoy psilocybin recreationally. It makes me not want to drink alcohol as much. That's something that I'm just like, ugh, you know, like it's fun, but it's not that fun. And I just find psilocybin to be silly cybin. It's great. That's what I call it on. That's what I call it on TikTok. Silly cybin. They'll accept that one. So I'm really grateful to the whole community. Also, I find the psychedelics community, I mean, sure, there's the industry, which is the same chodes doing the same thing to these plants that they're doing to cannabis. But people are super supportive. There's so many great coaches and educators and facilitators and cool people that I've met. And I've really just been, because I thought they were going to be like, oh, this cannabis girl, now she's trying this. But I really, I don't have any intention of being in psychedelics. I don't even think psychedelics are going to be an industry. I hate to blow all those people's bubble, but the more you use them, the less you need them. So I think it'll be an interesting industry, if you will.
Yeah. And the last thing you want to do when you're on mushrooms or psychedelics of any kind is like look at a screen or a shop or do anything that's like commerce in any way.
It doesn't go along with all the capitalism bullshit that we're living in, but who knows? I mean, I think that's also like, we're living in the strangest fucking times. Like this is, I never thought we'd be at this part of it all. So what the fuck do I know after all? But I've just been really so grateful to finally have opened myself up to psychedelics. And people like send me nasty DMs, you know, they're like, you fucking lightweight with your microdosing, that's not real psychedelic use, you know. And I'm just like, but it got me here. And it if I have a bad day or if I need it, it can help me get back on track if I feel like I'm getting off track. But it's really I know this is gonna sound kind of sad, but I didn't think like being happy was something that was in the cards for me in life. At a certain age, at like 28, I was like, fuck it. I'm not, there's happy girls and then there's me. And I'm definitely not a happy girl. And it's just really weird. Like probably like 6 months ago, I was like, heck, is this happiness? My God. You know, and it's like my life's not perfect by any fucking means. But damn, those are some really powerful molecules. And I really hope to see access open up to people, especially with the mental health crisis and COVID and this continuation of whatever fucking crazy shit we're living in. Because that's what I see. That's what TikTok has done for me too. It's like opened me up to this problem we have here in this. And it's just, it's mass despair. And it really rattles me every day because these people are sisters and mothers and they're first responders and they're nurses and they're paramedics and they're desperate. And they send me these DMs because they want me to plug them into healers and to where to access the product, which I always tell people is something I do, full transparency. I wasn't going to sit there on TikTok and show people, oh, look how good all of these results I've had and gatekeep it and say, well, I'm not going to help you. And I mean, it got like ridiculous for a minute. I was like answering like hundreds of DMs a day, like late at night in my spare time, just trying to help people. But I really I see this massive wave, this problem. And then it's like shocking, like my family living in Louisiana, like they're all doctors, you know, my cousin's just like, I've got this guy, he's addicted to opioids. Like, do you think this could help him, you know? And just hearing like all of the questions and the people coming to ask me has just been really mind blowing. And I'm just grateful to be happy and to be able to say that I enjoy my life and that I love my company. And I feel like I've never ever been this version of myself, and I'm just really proud of that, honestly, more than even the success of Kush Queen. I'm just like, I like living, you know, like that's just my truth. And now I'm like, God damn, I can't believe it's possible.
Wow.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Fuck.
Really
That's
deep.
awesome.
Mic drops for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do some plugs?
Yeah, let's hear where everyone can find you on TikTok and Instagram and
Yeah, the Liv Alexander on TikTok, Instagram. We're at Kush Queen Shop, Kush Queen Co. We got a million fucking Instagram pages. They can buy the hemp and Delta 8 products at kushqueen.shop. And then if you're looking to get our cannabis products, kushqueencannabis.com will guide you to the dispensaries all over California, and hopefully in 2022, maybe Washington, maybe Arizona, maybe some multi-state operator action.
whoa, MSO life.
I'm sorry, but MSO gang, like, just stop. Like, just fucking stop it. Like, we get it. You guys are multi-state operators. You don't need to be a gang. Like, read the fucking room. My God.
It's honestly, it's so great to check in with you now. I mean, having met you when I moved to Los Angeles 5 years ago, and to, you know, have profiled you in that piece 4 years ago, I think, and to check in with you now, it makes me want to, like, you're such a barometer of what's possible in cannabis. And I think it would be just so great if we had like a Weed and Grub checks in with Olivia segment once a year to sort of do like a State of the Union situation, so we can hear like what's going on in your world, because I feel like you have such a comprehensive, compassionate view that I just don't hear coming from business owners. So it's awesome.
Well, thank you for letting me come and chat, because for me, that's it too, is I think like I just like want people to know like and hear it from me. And I think like the word authenticity and all these words have even been like co-opted by fucking awful people. And it's just like, I'm Olivia. I'm the founder of Kush Queen. This is kind of what Kush Queen stands for. Someone wrote on TikTok, they're like, the more I learn about your brand, the more I'm very interested in the kooky weirdness of it all. And I'm like, it's fucking weird. We're freaks, like, in a best way. Like, I love it though. And I just think like, if I can be around in this space in 20 years, like, goddamn, I'll be really, I don't know if I can even outwit and outlast that long. This shit is like fucking Survivor. I really don't know, but I'm really going to try to stay as long as I can, to independently own Kush Queen as long as I can, to try to be a good young leader in the industry. I mean, that's another thing. Everybody's so fucking old. Not that there's anything wrong with being old. I'm getting old, whatever. But I do, like, when I take inventory of my life, I'm like, fuck, I'm only 33. God damn. Like, who am I going to be at 43? Who are you 53? Yeah. If I make it, you know, if I make it.
But I don't think it's about being old. I think it's about you're no longer tapped in. You stop caring about culture.
Yeah.
You're not, like, you just stop growing.
You ossify, right?
Yeah.
Well,
which is why I
guys,
don't think any of us would be, like, I don't think that's going to be a problem for any of us.
I think that's what it is. I think it's like, especially to people who want to get in the industry, like, it's just like, carve out your own space, be you, do you, and frankly, like, put blinders on and plug your ears and just, like, try so hard to stay out of the bullshit. And also, I think, like, I hate saying this because, of course, we all want to be number one and the best and the biggest and whatever, but it's not fucking about that. I used to get so hung up on that. Like, I gotta have the biggest company. I gotta be number one. Like, no, bitch, you're not gonna be number one. You don't have $1 billion. You didn't go to fucking Harvard. Like, come on. You were a bud tender at the Green Easy, and that's great, and that's okay. And that's why I'm always just gonna be in this weird little space that I'm in. And just like you guys, it's like, it's not even about being the biggest or the best or number one. It's just about, like, loving what you do and having a fucking good time. And then also, like, just bring what you got to the table, whatever that is. So yeah, I'm just really over here just trying to be as weird as possible, trying to have as much fun as possible, and still trying to be as high as possible. I literally was like, I got some joints nearby, and I'm like, it might be time to go to my tree. I have a tree that I go to, and my team knows, she's going to her tree. And I'm just like,
awesome.
Still gotta fucking get it in, so.
Smoking a tree next to a tree? Come on, that's a good break.
Yeah.
That's a good break.
It is. I think that's like, that's just the craziest thing too. It's just like, wow, like, this is really my life. Like, holy shit. Cause it's like, I really was a bud tender. Like, I really was just like weighing out eighths on Fairfax at this dispensary that my boyfriend at the time, his friends hired me because I'm sure I was hot or whatever. And I didn't know anything about weed other than I love smoking it. And it's just like, I think that's also something that why I want to keep staying a part of the industry. We'll see, because let me tell you, these motherfuckers want to merge. They want to acquire. They want to bend you over and acquire you so hard. And I'm like, oh, the money. Will I be able to fight the money, you know? But I really just, I just think about that girl, like, that just, like, smoked a blunt outside the dispensary every day and was just happy to go weigh in eighths and make $40 in tips. Like, that was it. And I always had the audacity. That's the thing to say. Olivia Alexander, Kush Queen, she always had the audacity. But I guess, like, when I think back, I'm like, did I really just, like, wake up and say, well, I'm just going to start my own brand? But I did, and here I am. And I love you guys, and it's just so great to see you guys also still around. You know, I think that's also it. It's like familiar faces and people who are just still in it with laughter and love. And also, like, people love you guys, and to maintain a reputation in this space for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot.
And
Yeah.
good reputations. You know, everyone fucking loves you guys. And I think that's also, like, that's important because we just don't, everybody fucking hates each other so much. Even
There's so much weed beef.
Even the influencers have beef, you know, like back in the day, like I'm like, there's literally beef in every corner and every aspect of this industry. And it's just like such a loving, healing plan and the irony of it all. But you guys are just like, you guys have always been there and always been bringing good vibes. And I just like look back, especially on that Dope Magazine piece so fondly. And really, what a pivotal moment to be on the cover. And you know, I think I also had some crazy sound bites in there too. I'm like, we're gonna start a revolution. Like, oh my god, Olivia, the cringe.
It was fucking great. It was good copy.
I mean, I'm always serving up some fucking cringy talking points, but goddamn, when I read that shit back, I'm like, bitch, you have always been on one. Like, the level drama turned up to 10, but we still need that revolution. So
True that.
there you go.
You're right.
You can find us at Weed and Grub on Instagram. WG at weedandgrub.com is our email. Hit us up. Hit Olivia up. We're just the realest in the game. And we don't have time for bullshit.
Congratulations on being verified, you guys. Super cool.
Thank
It's
you.
the little
Thank
blue
you very much.
It's the little blue checks that still matter, you know? But right on.
The little things do make a difference.
Yeah, we're collecting likes like diamonds.
Please come back. I mean, really, we got to check in with you every so often
Anytime.
to see what's up.
Anytime.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.